let's get right into it. So Tania and Sinjin. Y'all, I think that Tania, I don't want to say it, but I gotta be honest. I think that Tania was banging that black salsa instructor in Costa Rica, and she came back to Sinjin and just was not feeling it. I really feel like she was living her best life, getting her groove back, okay? How Tania got her groove back in Costa Rica, and then she came back to Sinjin and she was just like, I kind of don't want to be in this anymore, because she looked really disinterested when she met with Sinjin again, and Sinjin was very excited to see her. She didn't feel the same. Like, it just didn't look like she felt the same. I really think something happened between her and that salsa instructor, because remember last episode when Sinjin was calling her and she's just like, oh, it's my fiance, I want to let it go to voice. And the salsa instructor was just like, oh, just tell him that, you know, you're taking salsa lessons or you're getting salsa lessons from your instructor. Tania was just like, no, I'll tell him that I'm taking salsa lessons from a handsome black man. I was just like, that was really awkward to say. Like, it was so unnecessary, but I'm thinking that, you know, she was on her hoe. Tania was hoeing in Costa Rica, and she came back and she was just like, I don't really feel like being nobody's wife, because Sinjin got on her nerves right away. And I'm just like, if this is your fiance, you haven't seen him for 30 days. Wouldn't you just be elated? Like, Sinjin was so excited to see her, and she just did not reciprocate. Because even this argument in the car was preventable. It was all preventable, but she was just so annoyed by him. Like, I totally understand Tania, though. Like, I get her. She's trying to talk about, like, listen, we got to get out of my mama's house. We got to start making some money. She's mad at Sinjin because he did not work on anything that they had talked about him doing. And Sinjin, we're starting to see the slacker now, right? He's just like, oh, well, you know, I don't want the man. And just saying all this stuff about he'll work for the man and for the system and all of this stuff. Like, really being negative about work. So I can understand Tania being annoyed by him. I just felt like she was already there. So any little thing that he said was already going to set her off. But Sinjin was clearly wrong. Like, you did not do anything for those 30 days. And then when she asks you about what you have done, you get upset and you have a really negative idea about work. If you're trying to be somebody's husband, and not only a husband, a father, you need to learn how to be a provider. And at your big age, you don't know how to do that and don't want to do that. Something is wrong. And maybe homie just needs to get therapy, because he was talking about when he was working in the mines and how it was really dangerous and he didn't like it and he lost a lot of people to it. Maybe that's it. Maybe he is very damaged from his time working in the mines, and maybe he needs to work on his mind and get some help before he starts to, you know, go into the workforce, because I think he has this thing from working in the mines where he just feels he doesn't want to feel suffocated by work. And I think that has something to do with his time working in the mines, and he should probably really get that checked out, because, you know, if you're working in something for so long and you have been around people who has lost their lives, because working in the mines is very dangerous, right? And you get out of that and don't get any kind of help, that can have a very negative effect on you. So I do think that he needs to get help for that in some sort of way, but he also has to be a responsible provider, because that is what Tania is looking for. She's also looking for somebody who will be able to take care of her and the children, because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. She definitely wants to do her holistic healings and all of that, but she is very adamant about being a mother right away. She's rightfully frustrated because Sinjin has not done his part. Can I just be realistic here? I think the things that they are talking about doing for work doesn't seem like reasonable provision. I'm sorry. Who was buying woodwork in 2020? You know, like who? Especially like intermediate woodworking, because they were talking about Sinjin taking classes, woodworking classes. I'm just like, who was buying intermediate woodworking? Like, is that a very successful business entry level? And then tying with the holistic healing. Is there money in that for somebody who's starting off? Like, you guys got to be realistic. Y'all want to have kids right away and you're trying to get out of your mama's house, but you guys are going into a workforce that is already saturated by professionals, and you're starting off entry level, and you are going to need money. Can we talk about how, once again, Tania has on this pink shirt and black tight combo? This must be her most comfortable outfit. The only time we have ever seen her in something different this entire season was when she was in Costa Rica with that sundress and her titties out. I was like, everybody in Costa Rica got their titties out. How hot is that place? Tania and all her girlfriends were in these sundresses with no bras, and they were living their best life. Real talk, they made me want to go. I feel like that, like, this Costa Rica trip is something that, like, all women who have just been, like, who are, like, done with, like, society and, like, what society thinks a woman should be, should go on this, like, Costa Rica get your groove back trip. And just come back tanned, refreshed, and ready to take on the world, but, like, just take on the world freer. Because I felt like Tania came back free, but I think when she got back into just the reality of her life with Sinjin, she started to feel suffocated and sad. And she even said it. She had a really great time in Costa Rica, and then she comes back and she's in an argument with her fiance because he did not do what he said that he was going to do. I also think she's missing that black salsa instructor, okay? All of that mixed in with just her just being completely frustrated because she's back to this, mundane life. You know what I mean? When she came back from this, like, really fun and great time. Let's get into this argument. Because I touched on it a bit, but I forgot about this comment. When Sinjin told her to act civilized, right? I don't think that he meant it in the way Tania took it. I think Tania was already pissed off, right? And having this white South African man tell her to act civilized hit her in a really raw place. So she snapped at him. He starts snapping back at her, and she starts snapping back at him. He's calling her crazy, crossing the line with those kind of comments. Men never say that to a woman. It's a low blow. We don't like it because you're making it seem like our emotions are unjustified, when normally half the time when we're going off, it's because you've actually done something to piss us off. Like, her emotions are a little raw right now, but she's right to be pissed off at Sinjin because he did not do what he said that he was going to do. This whole fight with Tania and Sinjin has led me to the conclusion that Tania needs to be with a liberal, progressive man of color, because I feel like she's attracted to Sinjin. There is some love there, but I think who he is as a person will always annoy her. He is not a provider, you know what I mean? He is a fly by the seat of his pants kind of guy. He's white and he is South African. He is somebody who grew up segregated. So there are a lot of things that he's just not used to that's going to take some learning and growing for him to do. She don't got the patience for that. She does not have the patience to acclimate this man into a diverse society. He's also white. Like, Tania is, in my opinion, she is not the kind of woman who is, or kind of person who is built for somebody who is white. She has rightful issues with white supremacy in this nation, and she goes after it and she attacks it. I think her mindset and where she is set up, she is not built for a white partner. Like, she can't take that on. Bottom line, she has way too many issues with white men in particular to be dating and marrying and breeding with one. Like, she can't do it. I don't see this relationship working out because of the issues that and I'm not knocking those issues. They make sense. But there are some people who can interracially date, and I don't think that Tania is one of them. It really, really isn't, because everything that he says and does, she's going to be looking at it from a certain place that is very sensitive to her, and she does not have the wherewithal to be like, oh, he's only saying that because he doesn't know that. I think she will be able to give him that for a certain amount of time, but then she'll just blow up. And even Sinjin said it. He's just like, this is not me. You're mad at society and you're taking it out on me. She is. I totally agree with Sinjin in this aspect. I think he loves her for who she is. I think she loves him for who he is as well. But I think because of who he is, she can't be in a long-term relationship with him. I think the sex was fun and they had a great time when they met. But I think as long-term partners, she needs a man of color, a liberal, progressive man of color. She needs somebody who will meet her where she's at, and she needs a partner who can understand her. I don't think Sinjin can understand her. He doesn't get a lot of things that she's going through, but he just loves her. You know what I mean? And I think love for that moment, or infatuation and sex, help this relationship. But I think this space, this time apart, Tanya getting under a man of color, she came back and her mind was just not in it. And I think she's trying to fake it, or like go along with it, because she has this dude that's here because of her, that loves her, and she's also on this TV show. That's why I don't think they're together. I really, really don't think. I think that when we get the reunion, that we're going to get an update on this couple, that will probably be that they have both moved on. You know what, Tanya? Maybe you should be a madam. Is it a madam? What is it? A is that the proper term? A dominatrix? I said madam. I think that's a female pimp. I don't mean that. I think you need to be a dominatrix. You need to be a specific kind of dominatrix where your customers are old white men that like to be walked on and beat. No shade, but I know a couple doms out here, and they make a pretty penny beating old white men. There are, especially in LA, wealthy older white men who like hiring young black dominatrices, doms, okay? Young black female doms to like beat on them and you know, call them evil white men. The stories that I wish I could tell. One of my friends, I was just like, he pays you how much to do what? Like, just, you know, she just beats him. I'm not kink shaming, but she like beats him and walks on him and tells him how bad he's been to society and that he's racist, and, you know, makes him plead. This is not how I thought this review was going to go, but, you know. Girl, if you're watching this, cuss me out in the text message later, but, you know, I had to tell, because this is where I'm at. My friends watch this and then they cuss me out later, you know, friends and family, and then I realize what I can and cannot say, but right now I'm uncensored. And, you know, she makes him beg and says sorry for like slavery and racism and oppression and all of this stuff. And like, she does it for an hour or whatever, and he gets off on it, and she got 50, you know, G's, 50 G's in her account, just like that. No, I couldn't do it. I was about to be like, you know what? I've had opportunities, but I wouldn't be able to sleep. But she sleeps well in a nice apartment on a nice bed. Tanya, maybe that's something that you need to have on the side to get that aggression out. You know what I mean? Have a little old wealthy white man that you can beat up, that pays you very well to be able to take care of you and your family and build a beautiful, you know, multiracial brown family with your progressive man of color and live your best life. But this thing with Sinjin, sis, it's not gonna work. We can all see it. We can all see you both need to figure it out and set each other free. This couple ain't ready. This couple is not ready, and none of their decisions to me are making sense. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. Mike and Natalie, what the hell happened? Like, we came back and they were like broken up. What happened? So Natalie, guys, I don't think religion is this big of a deal for Natalie. Here's why. She already knew about Mike's beliefs before they got to this stage. I think that when Mike told Natalie that he was in debt, she got turned off. Natalie was just like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Because Natalie wants to be married and have kids right away. And she wants somebody who could be able to provide for her. And she's just like, I'm already struggling in Russia. I'm not going to America and struggling as well with kids. So I think when he told her the truth about his financial situation, he was no longer a viable candidate to be her husband. Like, he was no longer suitable for Natalie, and she just shut down. And I think because the cameras are there, she's trying to keep it up and just be like, oh, there's things that we have to talk about. Oh, no, it's the religion. I don't know what's wrong with him. He has to apologize to me. She keeps on making up. Please don't drag me for that Russian accent. I'm trying. She keeps on making up these obstacle courses that he has to go through to prove to her that he's worthy to be her husband, when he did not have to go through them before, when she thought he had money. Now that she realizes that she does it, Natalie is done. And I think because the cameras are there, she doesn't want to come off as somebody scamming or just being after this dude for his money or just a mean girl, right? I get where she's coming from. I just think that she should have paced herself. Like, guys, as soon as he told her he didn't have no money, she was just like, oh, she was out. Natalie, like, shut down from this dude completely. And I feel so bad for Mike because he loves her, guys. And he is trying to salvage this relationship. But they both have a lot of pride. Because in their confessional, first of all, this messy producer knew exactly what they were doing. When the producer asked Natalie if she loved Mike, and Natalie just, you know, when you say love, what do you mean? Natalie was like, this dude ain't got no money. I want to be done with this. And Mike just felt so heartbroken, and I felt so bad for him because I think he knew, you know what I mean? Because before this, Natalie was in love with him. She wanted to marry him. She wanted to have kids with him. And then as soon as he told our girl he ain't got no money, she was done. And guys, I'm not mad at her for that, right? Because I told you in the beginning, Mike should have told her from jump that he did not have it because he was being misleading with Natalie, telling her that he could provide for her and take care of her because at this stage in her life, Natalie is looking for that. She's looking for a provider because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And knowing that that's something that she really wants and finding out that this man who she was preparing to, like, you know, move her whole life for does not have what he said he had, has basically lied to her. It's okay for her to change her mind. I just would not have done it so quickly. Like, I wouldn't change my mind, but I would have, you know, like, eased out of the relationship. Natalie is just like, I'm out. I'm out. I can't blame her. I really, really can't. But I still can feel really bad for Mike. See, you just can't, like, lying about financial things in a relationship is huge. It never goes over well for either partner when it's found that somebody is lying. And I feel bad for this couple because I like them together. I thought this was the real deal. I thought there was some real love there, but I just did not expect for Natalie to check out like this. And there's nothing that can be done. Like, you can't change her mind because even Mike, he's like getting his stuff because after he hears that she doesn't love him, he's done. He starts to pack and he's ready to leave. And he gets his stuff and he packs, and Natalie's mom is like, oh, what's wrong? And he just starts crying to her mother because he's heartbroken. And Natalie is just sitting there on her futon like, oh, what is the problem now? And then Mike, visibly distraught, gets his things to leave. And Natalie is supposed to, like, ride with him to the airport. And she's like, before we leave, I need an apology. This Russian accent is trash. And Mike is like, I'm not apologizing to you. Like, what is he apologizing for? You just said you didn't love the man and you want him to apologize to Natalie. Girl, I didn't think you was going to be this gangster, okay? Didn't she come off as like this really sweet, innocent, you know, I just want to be loved and I just want to be a mom. Natalie was just like, you ain't got no coin? Oh, bye. Back to America you go. And guys, she did not go to the airport with him. Natalie. She was like, no apology? Okay, I'm not going. She took off her little bomber jacket and was done. Let him leave. And I thought, when we were getting footage of the car, I thought we would at least get Natalie running to the car like, stop, wait. I was emotional. It's okay. I'll go with you to the airport. I'm trying. Nothing. We didn't get that. He just left. Are you guys shocked? I am shocked. I did not think we would be here with this couple. Anna and Moose. I can't believe I'm here with the gnome couple. This couple has disappointed me so badly, and I was riding for them so hard, even when you guys were not, even when y'all cussed me out in the comment section about my support of this couple, I was still riding for the gnome beekeeper couple. How do we end up here, Anna and Moose? How? Like, Moose, you are 38 years old. I don't understand this culture. It's not my culture. I'm not going to say I don't understand. I'm not Turkish, right? I'm not going to knock it. It's very hard for me to sympathize with this grown man. I get that he's the only son, right? But you're 38, 57, because 38, how? I'll go with the lie. You're 38, you're on this dating site, you meet this woman, sparks fly, you start a relationship with her. You're intimate with her several times. You propose to her, move to the United States, have her start paying for your visa process and all of that, which is very expensive for a single mother of 3 or anybody, right? She gets you over here, you move into her home, start to try to build some kind of relationship with her kids, start building a freaking honeycomb altar for your wedding, have a wedding shower, meet all of her friends, sit down with her family, and then you call your parents to tell them that she has kids. They just say, no, come home. You drop everything and leave at 38 after you done wasted everybody's time? It baffles me. It baffles me, and I don't feel for him. All that crying and all that falling out, I'm just like, how are you trying to be somebody's husband and you can't even make no decision? You are an adult. You can't tell your family. Is it like a big disrespect or something? Because he said, I'm the only son, so I have to listen to them. Is it disrespectful if he doesn't listen to his parents and marries the woman that he loves? Please, somebody explain that to me, because I don't want to be like ignorant to the culture. If that is a cultural thing, I totally get it. I still don't sympathize with Moose, because if you knew that, you should have never wasted Anna's time. You should have never wasted her money. He's coming over here, sexing this woman down, eating off of her, wasting her and her children's time, knowing good and well that if his parents ever find out that she has kids, he can't marry her. So he goes through this whole process. As soon as he calls his parents, they tell him to come home. He just falls apart. And he's breaking Anna's heart. And she's saying, I want him to choose me. And I'm feeling bad for her. And then I'm just like, Anna, let him go. You should never have to beg and plead for a man to choose you, especially a man that you want to be your husband, especially a man that you want to be the stepfather to your children. Let him go. You don't need a man like that. If he can't choose you over his family, which is what a husband is supposed to do, because he's creating his own family, he's not a husband. And he's not somebody that you should want. I get that she has put a lot of time into him. And there are a lot of emotions wrapped up because she's falling apart. He's falling apart. But girl, he never chose you. He always chose himself and what he felt was best for him. He loves you, but he doesn't want to piss off his parents. You know what I mean? So he lies to you, he wastes your time, and then he goes back home. I feel like Moose would have went home regardless. I think he would have found something else to go on and happen in Anna's life and be like, well, in my culture, we can't do this. I told my parents I had to go. I feel like this is always his out. He was always looking or having something that he was going to use to be an out for him to get out of this situation. I really feel like he intentionally wasted Anna's time. He just came here to have a really good time. He didn't like America. He didn't like being a stepdad. The only thing that he did like was sexing up Anna. When that was just not enough for him, he decided to make this phone call, because even the whole time he's just like, oh, I don't want to make the call because I know what my parents are going to say. If you knew that, why did you still come? You mean to tell me nobody in that family was going to see that Anna has children? Nobody in that family was going to come over and visit you and see how you're living and see that Anna has children? Then what was going to happen? Did he want to marry her first and then just be like, oh, she has kids, so they can't say anything? Like, it seems like no matter what the situation was, he was always going to leave if they told him to come home. So why come if you knew it was going to be an issue? I'm just really disappointed in him. He wasted everybody's time. So Moose doing all that crying, that didn't faze me. I was really disappointed and upset with him because this wasn't right. I don't care how you feel about Anna. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that. Her kids didn't deserve that. Nobody in that home deserve what Mursel did to that family. Like, why are you building a honeycomb altar if you know you can't marry this girl? Why are you at the wedding shower? Why are you here in America if you know that you cannot marry her? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm thinking that at some point he was going to come back. Like, I was even at the airport, I thought he was going to turn around, but Anna was just like, once he gets on that plane and leaves the United States, he can't come back. So all that money that she spent on Moose, she could have spent on her kids, she done spent on this man who never even chose her. I'm disappointed in Moose. I feel bad for Anna. Even when she decided to take him to the airport, she's like begging and pleading for him to stay. How awful. How awful. I don't know if Moose can come back from this. Like, I don't even want to see him at the reunion. I didn't like this at all. I was so disappointed in him, and I felt so bad for Anna. She just kept on breaking down. She thought this was her husband. Ugh. Yikes. Michael and Juliana, not much happened with this couple. I will say this though, I was hollering when Michael got Juliana a bike so she can have some sort of independence. She looked like a junior high kid riding around on that bike, and she was so happy. She was just like, he got me a bike so I can be independent. This relationship makes me so uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And you know what? I hope that Juliana gets some friends her age and whatever. I think they're living in Connecticut. I hope she finds, some girlfriends, because Michael's ex-wife is becoming her girlfriend. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying that Michael's wife isn't a good person. So far, she's coming off really, really great on camera. And off camera as well. I don't think they have any issues. I'm not saying anything negative about her. I just think that Juliana needs to stop talking to her and just keep it very cordial. This is the ex-wife. This is the mother of his kids. She's not your friend. She's always going to keep you close. She's always going to play nice to you, because at the end of the day, she has to protect her children's inheritance, and she has to protect their welfare. So I don't think that she has any ill intentions with Juliana, but I also think that she's watching her and she's keeping her close because she's being protective over the inheritance of her children, And I think that Juliana's just being very naive with giving her all this information. But now, even though I'm saying it, I feel like they're both playing the long game. Like, Michael's ex-wife is being very cordial with Juliana and acting like they're like girlfriends, talking about Michael together. And I think she's just, like I said before, keeping her close so that she can always know what's going on. And I think that Juliana is playing the I'm an innocent immigrant girl who comes from nothing and I don't know anything, and like playing at her heartstrings to throw her off, you know what I mean? So that she's not looking for her scamming ways. They're both playing the long game. And you know what, ladies? I'm impressed. It will be very interesting to see how this all plays out, because I give this relationship about, if they stay on this show and if Juliana's social media presence and celebrity, and her reality TV star, like celebrity rises, I give this marriage 5 years tops. So I'll be interested to see where they're all at if and when this marriage falls apart. Will they be playing so nice? Blake and Jasmine. What y'all think about this couple? I don't know if it's going to work with them. I'm seeing Jasmine open up a bit more to Blake, but I just don't see her fitting into his world. And I see Blake trying to make something work because he's in love with Jasmine's aesthetic. I don't think he's in love with Jasmine. And I think that Jasmine is in love with Blake's Americanness and not in love with Blake. I feel like this relationship is a relationship of convenience for the both. Like, Blake gets this, blonde white chick on his arm that he can take to his show. Be like this eclectic music couple online. And I feel like Jasmine gets American citizenship and she gets to be close to her sister. So I think for the both of them, they're getting something out of it. I just don't know if this relationship will make it to the altar. And if it does, I don't know if it will make it past 2 years. Jasmine is very ungrateful because she keeps on talking to Blake about when his parents is moving out of the condo that they own into the house that they own. And my thing is, you're living in a place rent-free, not contributing to any bills. The mother is cooking for you. It seems like keeping this place clean that you're staying in, and you have the audacity to ask Blake when they're moving out. Let me tell you something. I don't see those parents moving out of that condo until they are actually married. I think, like I said before, Blake's mama wants to stay in that place with Jasmine because she's sizing her up. She wants to know if she's going to be a good fit for her son. And I feel like she is the kind of mom who will tell him, this is not going to work out. Why? This does not have my blessing. And I think that Blake loves and respects his parents enough that he will listen to them. So I'm thinking that she's watching Jasmine because she's trying. She's trying to cook with her. She's trying to see how she is as a person. So far, Jasmine is not looking good. So I think they're not going to move out until these two actually make it to the altar. Blake's performance. Anyway, was Rita wearing panties? I don't know what to say. What was that? I was with Jasmine on this one. I didn't understand what was happening at that show. And then you cut to Rita and she's like wearing panties. What is going on? Is this LA? What part of LA is this? I don't know this LA. Let's talk about Blake's friends. I think they're way too invested emotionally into his relationship. We all have friends who have dated questionable people, right? And I think we all know that especially when they start having sex, you can't say anything, especially with men. Like the majority of my best friends are guys. It's just how the cookie crumbled for me. Like my crew is Dustin, Preston, Drew. Yeah, we 4 dudes deep. 4 dudes deep, and then the rest are girls. It's me, Raina, Zaraya, Teresa. Oh yeah, so we're pretty even, right? We've been rocking with each other since we were like 14 years old. All the guys have dated trash. I'm sorry. All of my guy friends have dated, especially my besties have dated some girls who were just like, here we go. What I have learned is I've learned that you say your piece, you tell them what you see, you tell them the truth in the beginning, and you leave it alone. You leave it alone. All my guy friends have come back to me to apologize and be like, you know what, you were right. You're right. Because I remember when I used to like push back and be like, she's doing this, this girl isn't good for you. Especially when they start having sex with them broads, they're gone. They can't hear you, and it only puts a wedge in between your friendship. And you have to sit with yourself and be like, you know what, is this psycho worth me losing my best friend? If it is, then do what you got to do. But I just realized that it's just not worth it. And normally if the person isn't good for that person, they will eventually find out, but you have to let them find out on their own. But you can still be their friend and tell them what you see. Just don't be as emotionally invested to the point where they feel like they're being attacked or that you're attacking someone that you love. Just tell them straight up and bounce. Don't harbor on it. Just say your piece, just drop your seed, let it grow, and get out of there. I've learned that, and I just feel like Blake's friends need to learn that. They need to know, we say what we have to say about Jasmine, we tell you what we see, and move on. They're too emotionally invested, especially the black dude with the wannabe Jimi Hendrix. He is like really emotionally invested in this relationship because she doesn't fit with this crowd. She doesn't have to fit with the crowd. She just got to fit with Blake. And Blake is really into Jasmine for whatever reason, whether it be shallow or not, he wants her. So as his friend, you got to be his friend and stand by him. You don't have to tell him every second what Jasmine is doing that isn't right. Trust that your friend will eventually come to the light, but still be their friend, whether they make the right decision or the wrong decision. That's where you have to be as a friend. You can't get upset with them because they're not doing what you think is right or what they should be doing. You need to be their friend regardless. If you are somebody who is smart and you make good decisions, then you should know that you would align yourself with people who will do the same. Maybe they just got caught up this one time. But if you are somebody who thinks like that and you live your life like that, just know that you attract people like that. So your friend will eventually get it. They will eventually see that this person is not good for them. One of my friends, it took them a while. It took them a while, but they saw it. And you know what? When we all backed off and we just let them live their life, we were able to have a good time in our friendship, still deal with them and that person that they were dealing with or whatever. It just made our relationship with them so much easier. Because we were no longer like being so invested in their relationship that we could not allow that relationship to grow where it needed to grow, so that our friend could see some things that was wrong. If we're just overprotecting them and hoarding over them, they can't see the issues because we're telling them, but we're not allowing them to see it. So just back off and let your dude do what he gonna do. If he's smart, he'll see it. Eventually, everybody does. Everybody has a cloudy moment in a relationship. Everybody does. Let this boy live his life and still be his friend regardless. Still be in that wedding, even though you know it's a mess. Still be there to support him when Jasmine break his heart. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a friend does. Like, you can't be mad that he's not doing what you want to do. And I just feel like Blake's friends just need to take a step back. Let's talk about one of his friends. Jewish homie with the beard and the voice. I was like, where are you from? Let me tell you something. I'm a height hoe, but I'm also a blue collar voice hoe. I love a blue collar voice. And when I was listening to his friend, I was just like, where you stay at? What part of LA are you staying in? Because that voice got me. He was just like, we just gotta let him do what he gonna do. I was like, what? That dude, where are you from? That beard. Yeah. I'm a mess, but that's why you're here. Let's talk about Michael and his abuser. So Angela decides to go back to Nigeria to terrorize that land again with her presence, because Michael called her on the phone crying because he failed his visa test. And I guess he just did not say the right thing. Whatever he said in this meeting just didn't go well and he failed. So he called, or he didn't pass or whatever. And so he called Angela crying. And this is the thing, right? I don't like this couple. I do not like them together. I feel for Michael. I feel very bad for him. But this moment in the previous episode where Angela was just so excited to talk to Michael because she thought that she was going to hear good news. I wish that we had more of those really sweet moments from her, because it showed me a different side of her, and I realized that was a part of her that I enjoyed, because that was just her pure joy. She was very excited because she thought that she was going to speak to her boo and he was going to tell her that he would be in America next month and that they would get married. And when she found out that it wasn't happening, she was heartbroken, but she was also, you know, leaving that joy and consoling Michael. It was just very sweet to see the both of them in this kind of way, especially to see Angela not being awful. I enjoyed that, but I don't think that that's the majority of her personality. I think she is this rude and abrasive woman, because as soon as she gets to Nigeria, she gets in a car with Michael. She's asking him about the interview and she starts cussing him out again. I'm like, the dude was just on the phone crying with you, heartbroken. At least be excited to see the dude before you start cussing him out and telling him what he's not doing right. And I can't with Michael, because I know that he's doing this to get to the United States, but it's like, dude, there has to be another way for you to get here. Because if she's abusing you now, long distance, can you imagine what he's going to go through when he gets to the United States? Because TLC is going to make this happen. Like, this couple is a train wreck of a couple. TLC is going to make sure that they can film them on American soil. It's going to happen. Michael is going to get his citizenship. I hope that he does not have to stay with Angela for much longer, you know, when he does get here, because scamming or not, I don't want nobody to have to go through that. Like, you know what? Also, is Michael aware that he's going to be living in squalor with Angela? Because Angela lives in squalor with about 20 grandkids and her mother with them open wounds. Like, does he know the situation that he's going to be coming in? Like, you're better off in Nigeria, bro. I know you want to come to America, but you are not going to be living in the American dream. You're going to be living in the American hell. Are you ready for this, Michael? You're not. Who is ready for that situation? And of course, Angela brings some demeaning sex toys to, like, you know, use on her pet. That's what Michael is, a living, breathing sex toy for Angela. He's also a punching bag. I cannot stand this couple. I cannot. And did she also say that he's afraid to eat coochie? The word was bleeped out because they sat down for dinner to eat some Nigerian dish, and Angela was just being, it was fish with a head on it, and Angela was just being very, ignorant about it, and she was just like, Michael's scared to eat bleep, but he can eat this, and I was just like, are we talking about your coochie? If we are, I can understand his fear. Michael, do you really need American citizenship that bad? Like, really? You just go to Ghana and live in like that Wakanda that Akon is building. Live there for a few years. A lot of black people are trying to move there, myself included, to live in this new Wakanda until, China comes back to get their... Until China comes back to collect, baby, because we know they gonna come a knocking for that $1 billion. But until then, let's live in Ghana and have a really good time. I saw what he had planned for Ghana, and it's looking lit to me. So, Michael, just go there and then work on another way to get to America. Because eating Angela's coochie and living in that squalor, jail is better. Jail is better. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this episode in the comment section below. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the following episode of, I was going to say Love After Lockup. I've been doing a lot of reviews today. Mama got to catch up. 90 Day Fiancé. Love you guys. Bye.